Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace. I'm late by 4 minutes. I'm sorry for that. So let us start the session today. Today will be the editorial discussion session, and today it's very hot in Chennai. So you can feel watching me, sweating like profusely, sweating profusely. So, hi students, welcome to Veranda. So let us start the session. Let me drink some water. Okay. So good evening everyone. We'll start off with today's editorial, but before that I have added some 2 questions of parajumbles just to ensure that you have some practice. So parajumbles I have added. So this is the first question of parajumble. A, B, C, D, E. You have to give the arrangement. It's an easy question. Shivani, good evening. So this is the parajumble question. You have to find give me the correct rearrangement of this question. You rearrange and give me the answer. So anyone would like to try this question? I'll give you 2 minutes. So I'll give you options. So these are the 5 options you have. You have to find the correct rearrangement, the correct order. So let us start the class. I hope you can see the last option. Yeah, D, A, B, E, C. So would anyone like to try the question? Try solving the question. So the test, this cannot be the first sentence. If the user cannot be the first sentence. India is amongst the 2 countries where this is not the first sentence. The collab feature, this is not the first sentence. So D is the first sentence. So this is a probable answer, this is a probable answer. Okay. So Instagram began testing the ability for people to collaborate on feed posts and reels called collab. Okay. This is the first sentence. We have understood how. Yeah. D-A-B-E-C. Somebody says D-A-B-E-C. 3. C-D-A-E-B. Rajeshwari says 3. C-A-D-C-D-A-E-B. See, we have already found. Let us now understand how to identify which sentence cannot be the first sentence. It says the test. So A cannot be the first sentence. If the user cannot be the first sentence. India amongst the 2 countries where this cannot be the first sentence. Instagram began this is 100% the first sentence because this says the collab feature. So D will be the first sentence. So write the first sentence as D. Okay. So Instagram began testing the ability for people to collaborate on feed posts and reels called collab. The test, this is the test. So DA, the test is being conducted with a small percentage of the platform's global user. DA is correct because this talk about the testing the ability of, and the test is being conducted. Okay, then next comes India is amongst the 2 countries where this will be first be tested. Instagram says so. DAC. The collab feature, it talks about the collab feature. D talks about the collab feature. The collab feature lets users invite another user to a collaborator on the post or reel. So DACE. and B is the last sentence. If the user accepts, so invites another user. So user is followed by B. So E is followed by B. DACEB is the correct answer. Yeah, correct. Shivani is correct. Yeah, Danny, good evening, Danny. So DACEB will be the correct answer. So I have just added two rearrangements, two parajumbles in the question in today's class. So let's move to the next question. So this is the next question. A bit difficult one. So let us start with identifying which cannot be the first sentence. This cannot be the first sentence. These is already mentioning something which has happened already earlier in the passage. Okay. C, let us not touch C now. The reason is that most of the skills he added. This cannot be the first sentence. We want to change the company's chief human resources. This cannot be the first sentence. So probably C will be the first sentence. So we have identified C as the first sentence because options are not given. We will just rearrange the sentences. Okay. So what does C say? HCL Technologies plans to increase the share of freshers in its annual hiring numbers to 70% over the coming years, as it looks to focus on onboarding people with new age skills, a senior company official said. So C is the first sentence. New age skills. So either B can be the second sentence, B can be the second sentence, or A can be the second sentence. We have to identify. So B says these are skills related to cyber security, digitalization, IoT and cloud. No. B cannot be the second sentence. I'll tell you why. DACEB. Anyone would like to try this question? Take your time and try the question. In the meantime, I'm also trying the question. So HCL Technologies plans to increase the share of freshers' annual hiring numbers to 70% over the coming years and looks for focus on onboarding people with new age skills. Okay, so here it talks about hiring of people, right? Hiring of people. So definitely we'll talk about, A will talk about in 2021, 40% of the people hired by the company were freshers and 60% lateral hires. So A will be the second sentence, 100%. So C talks about the hiring of people. So A will be how many people were hired and how many were freshers and lateral hires and all. Hires or all. Fine. C A. After A, let us check which can be the next sentence. CEADB, CBGEA, EAD. You're close, but not the correct answer. Sandana, CAEDB. Who is it? Naveen Chandran. Perfect, Naveen. Naveen is perfect, just perfect. So CAEDB, CAEDB is the correct answer. Yeah, this is the correct answer. CAEDB. Correct answer. Naveen, you are great. Thank you. Okay. How come? So CA you have understood. Then E says we want to change this in next couple of years. So this talks about the data, right? How many lateral hires, how many 40% freshers, 40% freshers. So E says we want to change this in a couple of years. We really want to go to 70% freshers and 30% lateral hire. So this is how the company wants to change its modus operandi. So CAE will be final. Then comes the D. The reason is that he added. So CAE, D, B. B is what? These are skills related to cyber security, digitalization and IoT and cloud. So this is correct answer, CAEDB. Okay. So moving ahead, now let's start the editorial discussion. I wish you could also speak from your end so that we could make it quite interactive. Okay. So, remiss regulator. Remiss means what? Negligent. 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 Regulator means what? One who regulates, controls. Regulator means one who controls. One who controls. Fine. So, the SEBI, SEBI means Securities and Exchange Board of India, earlier this month passed a significant order relating to the country's largest stock exchange, the National Stock Exchange, NSE of India. So what it says, the SEBI earlier this month passed a significant order relating to the country's largest stock exchange, the NSE of India. As the markets regulator, who is the markets regulator? SEBI. Okay, so as the markets regulator, whose primary mandate, so here mandate means responsibility. Here mandate means responsibility. So as the markets regulator, whose primary mandate is to protect the interest of investors in securities. So who is the market regulator? SEBI. SEBI's 190-page order raises more questions than it resolves. So here till now we have understood that the SEBI has passed an order relating to the country's largest stock exchange, NSE. So as a market regulator whose primary responsibility is to protect the interests of investors in securities, SEBI's 190-page order raises more questions than it resolves. In particular, it spotlights means highlights. It highlights the regulator's tardiness. Tardiness means late coming or lateness, L-A-T-E-N-E-S-S. Regulator's tardiness. Who is regulator? The SEBI. Okay. It means the report. It spotlights the regulator's tardiness, means late coming in adjudicating. Adjudicating means resolving by giving a judgment, formal judgment. So the regulator's late coming in adjudicating a sensitive matter involving the manner of appointment of a top level NSE official, as well as possible regulatory violations by the then CEO and MD Chitra Ramakrishna. So what it says, regulators' slowness in adjudicating a sensitive matter that involve the manner of appointment of a top level NSE official. Somebody who has been appointed as a top level NSE official, there is some sensitive matter involving how the NSE official was hired and possible regulatory violations by the then CEO, who was the CEO and MD at that time, Chitra Ramakrishna, in sharing confidential internal information with an unknown person. So Chitra Ramakrishna shared some confidential internal information with an unknown person. By SEBI's own admission, the first compliant means the first person to follow. By SEBI's own admission means for acceptance, the first compliant alleging governance issues, alleging means complaining, blaming. The first compliant blaming governance issues in the NSE's April 2013 appointment of Anand Subramaniam was received in December 2015 as Chief Strategic Advisor. So the first complaint alleging governance issues in the NSE's to April 2013 appointment of Anand Subramaniam as CSA was received in December 2015. So this is the issue that Mr. Anand was posted as a Chief Strategic Advisor, and this complaint was raised in December 2015 and some confidential internal information was given by MD Chitra Ramakrishna, shared with an unknown person. So this is the issue till now. Okay. Now moving ahead, after an exchange of emails on the issue between the regulator and the NSE in 2016, so the regulator is SEBI and NSE, there was some exchange of emails on the issue between regulator and the NSE. SEBI tasked the exchanges board with determining, SEBI means Stock Exchange Board of India and all. So tasked the exchanges board, NSE's board, with determining if there had been violations of the norm. Task means gave the responsibility to check. Task means what? If I task you means I give you some task. So SEBI tasked the exchanges board with determining if there had been violations of the norm. Now what is the norm? Norm is not sharing the confidential information with others. So in November 2017, the NSE sent back a report by the board's nomination and remuneration committee. So NSE sent back means responded to the report by a board's nomination and remuneration committee, which flagged several irregularities pertaining to his appointment. So NSE did what? It sent back a report on by the board's nomination and remuneration committee. So board's remuneration and nomination committee gave a report which was sent back by the NSE, which flagged. Flagged means what? Flagged generally means arrested. Here flagged means supported by, which pointed out several irregularities related to, this is pointed out, related to his appointment, Mr. Anand Subramaniam appointment, including his lack of relevant experience, and that Miss Ramakrishna, who was the CEO MD, alone had interviewed him. So Miss Ramakrishna had alone interviewed whom? The Anand Subramaniam, and appointed him as the strategic advisor. Okay. Separately but interconnected, SEBI had, during its probe into another matter, separately means apart from the whole scenario, SEBI had during its probe, while it was doing investigation into another matter at NSE, stumbled upon. So what SEBI did was, SEBI was looking into another matter at National Stock Exchange. It stumbled upon means it came across documentary evidence pointing to Ms. Ramakrishna having been in email communication and sharing sensitive information with an unknown person. So what happened? Ms. Ramakrishna had been sharing email communication and sensitive information with an unknown person. So SEBI stumbled upon means came across a documentary evidence pointing to Ms. Ramakrishna being in email communication and sharing sensitive information with unknown person. Okay. So moving ahead, the NSE's conclusion based on findings in forensic audit by Ernst & Young. E&Y is a company. So NSE's conclusion, National Stock Exchange conclusion, based on findings in a forensic audit by Ernst & Young, that this unknown person was none other than Mr. Subramaniam. And this report was sent to SEBI in October 2018. So NSE did what? It found out that the person who was with whom Miss what was this lady's name? Ramakrishna. Okay, Miss Ramakrishna was sharing the information was none other than Mr. Subramaniam, and it was sent to SEBI in October 2018. This report was sent to SEBI in 2018, and yet it took the regulator. Regulator means the SEBI. A further 40 months to inexplicably means that cannot be explained, inexplicably conclude that the unknown person ostensibly means seemingly, apparently, obviously guiding Miss Ramakrishna was unlikely to be Mr. Subramaniam. So SEBI decided after 40 months when the report was sent that Mr. Subramaniam was not the person with whom Miss Ramakrishna shared the information. The biggest beneficiary of the guidance by getting promoted as group operating officer. So Mr. Subramaniam got the biggest advantage, and he became the biggest beneficiary, means the receiver of benefit of the guidance by getting promoted as group operating officer from general strategic advisor to group operating officer, and receiving annual pay increases that vaulted means catapulted, jumped, vaulted his annual compensation to 4.21 crore per annum by April 2016 from 1.68 crores in April 2013. So from April 2013, 1.68 crore was the compensation he was getting, and by April 2016 he was getting 4.21 crore rupees. Fine. To be sure, SEBI acknowledges that it was hamstrung. Hamstrung means what? Hamstrung means crippled, handicapped, crippled or handicapped. So it was crippled by the NSE's dilatory. Dilatory means what?